Still a fight over how it will proceed.
This is clearly an attempt to rig the trial.
Democrats accusing Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of rushing the process and attempting to cover up President Trump's alleged wrongdoing.
It appears that Leader McConnell decided to go along with the president's desire to cover up his wrongdoing. Hook, line, and sinker.
And Republicans arguing the Senate process will be fair.
The Senate's fair process will draw a sharp contrast with the unfair and precedent-breaking inquiry that was carried on by the House of Representatives.
But reaffirming the Senate will not reinvestigate the president.
The House chose not to pursue the same witnesses they apparently would now like the Senate to pre-commit to pursuing ourselves. As I've been saying for weeks, nobody will dictate Senate procedure to United States senators.
This begins just the third presidential impeachment trial in U.S. history, following President Trump's impeachment on December 18th.
Now, after this, each side gets 24 hours for opening arguments. It will be divided into 3 days, 8-hour days. And then after that, there's 16 hours for questions from the senators. They will be submitted in writing, and the Chief Justice will read them aloud. Then the big question mark, will we have witnesses? If there are at least 4 Republican senators that side with the Democrats, we will have witnesses. We don't know exactly which ones yet, but it could extend the trial. If all Republican senators side with Mitch McConnell and do as he wants, this trial could be over fairly quickly. Reporting on Capitol Hill, I'm Camila Bernal. Back to you.
And you can watch, stream, and listen to the impeachment trial on all KPBS platforms. We have more details at kpbs.org. And a programming note, KPBS Midday Edition will air at 9 a.m. on KPBS Radio due to our impeachment coverage. Groundbreaking today on a 14-story, 400-unit housing project aimed at getting people off the streets and into a permanent home. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman now with more on where it's being built and by whom.
This future skyscraper won't be commanding high rents. Instead, this entire building will be used for affordable housing.
We can't solve this problem 50 units at a time.
So Father Joe's Villages, one of the region's largest providers of homeless services, decided to go big.
The 14-story building is 407 units. It's going to take right off the bat, it's going to take about 550 people off the streets. It's for seniors and veterans and disabled and family members as well. So across the board, if you look at our other developments, our other affordable housing, there may be 100 units, maybe 200 units max. This is the largest of its kind. It's 407 units.
Tuesday marked the official groundbreaking for the development. The project's price tag is $145 million. Funds are coming from the city, state, and even a $10 million donation from local philanthropist Terry Castor.
God, what a dream could do.
There's been some pushback from the community over the project, which is located near 14th and Commercial Streets downtown, but officials are confident it will be a success.
Because as we're helping people off the streets, the community is getting healthier, economically and otherwise, right? So it's a win-win all around.
The site is earmarked for affordable housing over the next half-century, but Father Joe's plans to keep it that way for much longer.
We're the owners, and this is what we do, so it will continue well after 55 years.
Officials say if the building opened today, rents would range from $600 to $1,200 for 1- and 2-bedroom units, but that will likely change before the project is completed over the next 2 years. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
And residents in the development will have access to health and dental care as well as mental health services. And that new housing development comes as Southern California prepares to count the number of people who are unsheltered. LA, which has the region's largest homeless population, started its count today. San Diego's point-in-time count will begin Thursday. This is video from last year. In 2019, just over 8,100 people were counted. That was a drop from previous years. The man convicted of killing the McStay family of Fallbrook back in 2010 was sentenced to death today. Charles Chase Merritt cried in court, telling the judge, quote, "I don't deserve this. I did not do this." The 62-year-old was convicted in the brutal beating deaths of Joseph McStay, his wife Summer, and their two sons Johnny and Joey Jr. It was back in 2010 when the family disappeared. Their bodies finally discovered 3 years later in shallow graves outside of Victorville. Prosecutors say Merritt, a one-time business associate of Joseph McStay, killed the family over a business dispute. Students, family, and friends gathered this afternoon at Alliant University to commemorate the life of a student killed when a Ukrainian airliner was shot down in Iraq. 23-year-old Sarah Sadat her mother and 21-year-old sister were among the 176 people killed when Iranian missiles took down the aircraft. Today's memorial was more of a celebration of life for the first-year doctoral student in clinical psychology. The Scripps Ranch University has made counseling available for students struggling with Sadat's death. Some quick action by a father in Orange County saved his young son's life. The boy was attacked by a mountain lion at a park near Lake Forest. Reporter Jake Rayner tells us what the father did to distract the animal.
We request that you evacuate the park.
It's a startling image to come across.
We looked up and there was a mountain lion and it had a backpack.
But then you start to put the story together from one hiker.
Yeah, it's crazy.
To a mountain biker who took these photos.
She had her son in her arms. The son was kind of crying and a little bit scared.
And then you hear that son is 3 years old and the member of a family of 6, just going for a hike in Whiting Ranch Park.
A mountain lion came out of somewhere, attacked the 3-year-old, grabbed him by the neck and started dragging him.
The boy's father was quick to toss a backpack at the lion and remarkably,
The mountain lion dropped the 3-year-old, grabbed the backpack and then went up into a tree.
And there it was, perched, backpack in mouth. But not for long. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife said the mountain lion had to be shot and killed in the interest of public safety. As for the 3-year-old boy, he was taken to Chalk Children's at Mission Hospital.
As you know, there have been mountain lion attacks in the past.
Cut to 2004, at the same park, a mountain lion attacked 2 people, killing one of them. Unfortunately, it's something you have to be wary of living in the Orange County foothills.
I make sure that my dogs don't go out. I make sure that the doggy door is closed at night.
And that was Jake Rayner reporting. The boy has since been discharged from the hospital. The mountain lion's body has been taken back to Sacramento for DNA testing. Members of a new migrant caravan heading north to the U.S. are being turned around. The government of Mexico says it's working with Honduras to return about 500 people. These are pictures from the first group being loaded onto airplanes. Mexico says the migrants don't have proper immigration documents. They were hoping to reach the U.S. border to claim asylum.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The Senate opens the next phase of the impeachment trial of President Trump. Coming up at 7, right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
President Trump is a continent away as the Senate impeachment trial begins. He's taking part in the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. The annual meeting is a chance for leaders in business and finance to meet with government leaders. Climate change emerged as a topic today. Here's what he and climate activist Greta Thunberg had to say on the issue.
This is not a time for pessimism. This is a time for optimism. Fear and doubt is not a good thought process, because this is a time for tremendous hope and joy and optimism and action. But to embrace the possibilities of tomorrow, we must reject the perennial prophets of doom and their predictions of the apocalypse.
You say children shouldn't worry. You say, just leave this to us. We will fix this. We promise we won't let you down. Don't be so pessimistic. And then, nothing. Silence.
Thunberg is just 17, was named Times Person of the Year for her work on climate awareness. And just last week, the weather agency NOAA declared the 2010s as the warmest decade on record due to climate change. Much of San Diego County woke up to wet weather this morning and gray skies all day. But are we in for a change? Here's Marvin Gomez with our forecast.
Here's the radar earlier today. Notice how we had those clouds moving throughout the region. The wet weather that we got yesterday, that's already off into Arizona and New Mexico. And that storm system didn't leave without leaving us with at least 1/4 inch of rain. As a matter of fact, that's how much rain we had here in San Diego. Taking a look at your temperatures for tonight, most of our area in the 40s. Escondido coming down to 45. Ramona, 40 degrees. If you're out there in Borrego Springs, it's going to be chilly as well in the 40s. Mount Laguna, it's going to be a cold one for you, but at least it's not going to be freezing. Looking at your futurecast for most of the night, again, on the western side of the mountains, we're going to see some patchy fog and mostly cloudy conditions for the coast as well. Heading into tomorrow, we're going to have those mild temperatures around across much of California. So we're going to be in a pretty good shape here in San Diego County. We're coming up to the mid 60s across San Diego. Chula Vista, 64, heading into Mount Laguna, coming up to 50 degrees, and Borrego Springs, a lot nicer with temperatures near 70 degrees. Along the coast, we're in the mid 60s today, and then we get close to 70 degrees for the second half of the work week. Mostly sunny conditions for each and every single afternoon. Across inland areas, we're looking at lots of sunshine for the upcoming days as well. But take a look at our Saturday, 75 for the high, and then the cool down happens on Sunday with temperatures coming down below 70 degrees. In the mountains, mostly sunny skies as well. Mid 50s for the upcoming days. We have a quiet weather pattern, and across the deserts, we're going to be in the mid 70s as well, and mostly sunny conditions at night, those lows near 50 degrees. For KPBS News, I'm AccuWeather's Marvin Gomez. Back to you.
Tonight, we continue our special coverage of the choices voters will make in the March primary, now just 6 weeks away. There's an open city council seat in San Diego's District 7. KPBS reporter Claire Tregeser introduces us to those who want to represent communities stretching from Linda Vista to Tierra Santa.
4 candidates means there's a lot to keep straight, so here's a quick rundown. First up is Noli Zosa.
I am a partner in the popular restaurant group Dirty Birds.
He's also on the city's Parks and Recreation Board and chairman of the Linda Vista Planning Group. He's the only Republican in the race. The rest are Democrats. Then Raul Campillo.
Now I'm a deputy city attorney. I work in Mara Elliott's office in the criminal division.
He used to be an elementary school teacher and has worked on Democratic presidential campaigns. Next, there's Wendy Wheatcroft.
And I've spent the past 3 and some years working in gun violence prevention at the local, state, and federal levels.
She volunteers with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America and also was an elementary school teacher. Finally, we have Monty McIntyre.
I practiced law here since 1980 for 40 years next year, and I've been a mediator and an arbitrator in the last 19 years.
He also was president of the San Diego County Bar Association and works on a nonprofit that provides music therapy. The candidates mostly agreed that homelessness and a lack of affordable housing are San Diego's most pressing issues, but their opinions differ when it comes to solutions. Noli Zosa says city leaders must better understand what homeless people are going through before deciding what they need.
Really treating people as individuals and not data, because just providing a house or housing for them or feeding them is not enough. There's mental issues, there's substance abuse issues, there's alcohol-related issues, there's relationship issues. There's so many different reasons why people are homeless. And to have offer one solution is not gonna solve the problem.
Zosa also wants the city to lower taxes on small business owners and cut its spending on bike lanes.
Right now, San Diego is spending $276 million on building bike lanes. And that money should be spent on roads and expanding highways. 99% of the commuters in this city still use their car as their main mode of transportation.
Housing and homelessness are tops for Raul Campillo too, but he favors the approach the current city council is taking.
Georgette Gomez said, we're going to have a compromise plan on an inclusionary rate for housing costs. So when a new project comes up, the developer has to set aside a percentage to keep either the rent or the housing cost, the purchase cost, lower.
He also wants more supportive housing for the homeless, along with job training. Among Campillo's other big issues are improving bus and trolley service and increasing pay for police officers. Wendy Wheatcroft also puts homelessness as her top issue, but she says city leaders have to think big if they actually want to make a dent in the problem.
I have a 3-point plan for this. We have a lot of vacant units throughout San Diego that really need to be brought to market. This includes Airbnbs and vacant units possibly owned by investors. Secondly, we need sweeping regulatory and land use reform so that we can change some of the zoning in neighborhoods to allow us to build more housing. And thirdly, I really want us to explore the concept of social housing.
Monty McIntyre is the only candidate who puts City Hall culture, not a specific issue, as his top priority.
We have to try to make our decision-making process better. We really have to use a critical analysis process. So you have to first get all the facts. Then you have to figure out if there are any best practices anybody's developed.
Then get expert opinions and analyze. He also wants to help housing affordability by removing red tape and changing community plans so more homes can be built, and wants to boost salaries for city employees. We also asked each candidate for new ideas they have for the district. Noli Zosa has something specific.
The dog park. You can't be a community without a dog park.
He's working to build it near the baseball fields at Lake Murray. If elected, Raul Campillo says he would push the San Diego River Conservancy Board to invest in technology to improve the health of the river. Monty McIntyre wants to work with employers like Qualcomm to build more housing for employees. And Wendy Wheatcroft says Linda Vista needs more grocery stores. The top two vote-getters will face off against each other in the November general election. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
And another interesting race to watch will be the 77th Assembly, where some Republicans blasted Brian Mainshine for deserting their party and becoming a Democrat. Voters get to weigh in during the March primary on whether they think the party switch was a good move. KPBS reporter Amita Sharma has more.
Mainshine, who represents the 77th District, abandoned the Republican Party, saying the Democratic platform was more aligned with his values. He followed up by backing a bill that toughens the rules on when police can use force. Republican challenger and lawyer June Cutter says Mainshine's failure to oppose that bill is one reason she wants to win the seat. Mesa College political science professor Carl Luna says short of slinging mud, Cutter faces an uphill struggle in trying to unseat Mainshine.
Yeah, there's no race you can't lose with enough money on negative advertising. So, Brian Mainshine loves criminals. Yeah, if you put a lot of money into it, you might be able to pull that off.
Democrats narrowly outnumber Republicans in the 77th Assembly District. Luna doesn't believe non-Democratic voters will abandon Mainshine.
So he's already won independent voters, and some of the Republicans he left behind are still going to stay with him because they know him.
The 77th Assembly District includes Rancho Santa Fe, Fairbanks Ranch, Poway, and some areas in San Diego. Amita Sharma, KPBS News.
You can watch or stream our coverage anytime at kpbs.org and our KPBS podcasts. Tomorrow we'll have more on the city council races and the ballot measure that could make big changes to what businesses pay in property taxes. Students from Hoover High School are getting into the thick of local politics. Recently, they had a chance to moderate a mayoral debate. KPBS Speak City Heights reporter Ebony Monet shows us how their hard work paid off.
Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and I'm a 10th grader student attending Hoover High. I live in the City Heights area.
15-year-old Charlie Rodriguez welcomes the guest he and his classmates have invited into their school's gymnasium.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight, including our candidates here for our very first mayoral debate.
After months of practicing, the mayoral forum was underway. Candidates Todd Gloria, Tasha Williamson, Barbara Breed, and Rich Rao each had 1 minute to answer the students' questions. Students formulated those questions in Mrs. Gooch's restorative justice class, which is part of the school's Social Justice Academy. We visited the class in the days leading up to the debate.
I feel good about this debate.
On this morning, students were seated in groups, strategizing with mentors about how to get the political candidates off script.
Oh, instead of just like my typical thing that I say to everyone, it's going to be specific to what you guys are talking about.
Sophomore Jesus Perez felt the pre-debate jitters.
It's pretty exciting, but nervous at the same time because you never know what's going to happen, you know?
Perez's group is responsible for coming up with the questions. He wants to discuss solutions for youth substance abuse.
Mostly like drug use. There's a lot in this kind of era, you know? There's a lot of drugs being used, and some of us don't like it at all.
Classmate Tyler Chan says his experiences offer possible debate topics.
I'm aware of, the high rent in San Diego. I'm aware of, the drug addiction that's going around, some schools as well.
According to the school district, about 88% of Hoover's students live in the attendance boundary, which is largely City Heights.
I want them to take action in what they say.
Senior Chamonita Luck says before voting for the first time, she wants to hear how candidates would fix problems in her community. What are some of the problems that you see in City Heights?
The problems are usually like homelessness and like basically like drug abuse, and like I would like witness this like shooting and stuff like that around my neighborhood. Like I've experienced it.
This exercise is actually a part of a partnership between Hoover High School's Social Justice Academy and Youth Will, a social justice nonprofit.
But it's also about young people from City Heights at Hoover High School weighing in a really important conversation that San Diego is having about who their next mayor will be and what that next mayor will be focusing on.
Sean Elo is Youth Will's executive director.
All the questions that we're going to ask them, they each get 90 seconds.
He says the debate project is an ambitious lesson in civic engagement.
I want to be comfortable in my own skin. I want to say what I want to say.
Students predict this experience will stay with them.
And this like organization helped me like get through it and like just get rid of my insecurities.
And I think that this class can be, really impactful for the youth because not many students or, not many, kids really know about the outside world or know really much about, the government or, anything like that.
So if I could have all the students from the Social Justice Academy stand up.
The night of the debate, the students' plans are realized.
I came to San Diego looking for better opportunities, but I had to live with one of my mom's friends because my mom and my siblings don't have legal permanent visa to live in the United States.
They get a chance to be heard.
The air quality in City Heights and San Diego in general is very poor compared to other communities.
And an opportunity to ask the people who want to lead the city how they would help its youth.
What will you do to guarantee housing for every college student in San Diego?
The student-run forum ends with high marks.
Everybody came, and I feel like everybody was able to like hear what they want to hear, and I think it was great.
They can see the fruits of their labor, so I am so ridiculously proud of them right now.
Ebony Monet, KPBS News.
Despite all the reports of how deadly and dangerous vaping can be, you'd think the number of users would decline. Well, think again. According to a new study by the Truth Initiative, an anti-tobacco advocacy group, Juul use increased last year. It doubled among those 15 to 34-year-olds, and this percentage who tried Juul went up about 8%. It's worth noting, since the study's data was collected, Juul has removed flavored products from the U.S. market due to underage use. You'll be hearing more about the Super Bowl over the next couple of weeks. The game is already setting records for ticket costs. Resale sites like SeatGeek put prices at $4,400, and that's for the least expensive ticket. Some are going as high as $24,000. Super Bowl 54 will be played February 2nd in Miami between the Chiefs and the 49ers. It's the same place where San Francisco beat the San Diego Chargers 25 years ago. And the city of LA says it was cheated out of a couple of World Series titles, and now it wants Major League Baseball to make it right. Today, the City Council passed a resolution asking the league to award the 2017 and 2018 titles to the Dodgers. This is all related to the cheating scandal involving the Houston Astros.
We don't know whether they would have won or lost in a fair fight, but we know they were cheated out of a real shot at a championship. This country needs to receive a message that cheating is not okay. We need that message now more than ever.
Our choice today is to choose to make a statement that cheating shall not be the new normal, that people were robbed, and that we want it to be clear that this city spoke up for its team.
The Astros fired their manager after the league issued a suspension. The city of LA says it should also get the 2018 title won by the Red Sox because their manager was a coach for the Astros when the cheating occurred in the prior year. And here's a recap of tonight's top story. The impeachment trial of President Trump is underway. Republicans control the process, and today was all about setting up the rules for the trial. Democrats want to demand official documents from the White House, but that proposal was voted down. Both sides will give opening statements in the days ahead. As always, you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great evening.